Hey, what's up guys, Reed here and welcome to ReadReborn. In today's video we are looking at one of the new dungeons released in patch 3.2, the Lost City of Amdapor hard mode. To get into this dungeon you need to be a minimum of item level 180 and you can unlock it by speaking to Isumiyan at the Conjurer's Guild in Old Gridania. Personally I really like this dungeon, nothing too difficult, and in this video I'm just going to be showing you the tactics for the bosses. So the first boss you'll encounter in this dungeon is Kamov. And the first conal AoE to look out for is Psycho Squarmer. For this I just recommend staying close to the boss at all times, just so you can easily dodge this when it comes up. So the main mechanic in this fight is when the boss casts Nero Squarmer, and basically whatever position your character is facing is basically what it does in AoE. As you can see he's just cast it and it does a little bit of damage, but then as soon as you move your character stays still and it does an AoE. So as you can see our team coordinated well and you have to all face the same way, so your character does like an AoE all in the same direction, or otherwise the whole area would just be taken up by AoEs if you're all facing different directions. And a second thing while Nero Squarmer is up is that someone gets tethered by a toxic Squarmer, and this slowly comes towards them, so if you get targeted by that all you have to do is just run away. If it does manage to catch you up and explodes, it will give you a stack of vulnerability up and also leave a green puddle on the floor that will give you a debuff whenever you run into it. So that is everything in this fight. Just remember to dodge the conal AoE, make sure all your characters face the same way for the Nero Squarmer, and also run away from the toxic Squarmer when that is up as well. So after killing a few monsters in the light beams, you will come up against the second boss, the Winged Lion. So the first thing to look out for in this fight, this will happen about once or twice, the boss will jump up and become invulnerable, and underneath him there will be a sphere, and all you have to do is just take that out as quick as you can, and after you've taken that out the boss will come back down and then you can start attacking him again. So the main mechanic in this fight is Ancient Stone and Ancient Arrow. At the start of the fight the boss will cast these and it will just drop an AoE and then a sort of ball, so if he casts Ancient Stone there'll be an Earth Ball, and if he casts Ancient Arrow then there'll be like a Wind Ball, and after he casts this you just have to run into them and you take around 2000 damage. So shortly into the fight the boss will cast Ancient Libra, and this gives every single player in the party a debuff, 2 with Earth resistance down and 2 with Wind resistance down. Depending on which debuff you get depends on which one you should run into. So for example I got the wind resistance down, so I should only pick up the stone ones. I should not get the arrow ones because they'll deal way more damage than 2000, and vice versa depending on what debuff you got. And one final thing to look out for, when the boss is around 50%, 2 ads are going to spawn. Just take those out as quick as you can, but be careful because when the ads are up he also does the jump up sphere thingy, so just be aware of that. Take out the sphere as soon as that pops up and then get the ads. So that's everything. Just remember to dodge the AoEs, kill the sphere when he jumps up, take out any ads, and make sure you run into the right orb depending on what debuff you have. So after killing a couple more monsters you will come on to the final boss room and face Kirthi. So in this fight you have to take out the boss 3 different times, and each time it resurrects it will come up with like a different stance, and one AoE that is active in every stance is Glory. This is just a frontal cone very similar to the first boss, so I'd always recommend standing pretty close to the boss. So the first stance the boss is in is like a healing stance. He'll cast moves like Regen and Cure, but they don't actually do anything, so just burn down the boss in this phase and then move on to the next one. So the second stance the boss is in is a damaging stance, and even though he casts the same name spells as in the healing stance, so for example Regen here, they actually have like damaging properties, so if you walked into the AoE on the healing stance it wouldn't do anything, but if you walked into the AoE on the damage stance it will give you a bleeding debuff. And same again here, he's casting Cure, but actually it's just like the Strip Mine from Pharos hard mode second boss, so when that pops be sure to run away from that and to take less damage. So another thing to look out for in the damage stance is another type of Cure, and this marks 2 different players, and basically they just need to make sure they don't overlap so they don't take as much damage. So after keeping that up and taking down the boss in the damage stance, you come onto the final stance, which is another damage stance just with some different mechanics. So one of the first things in this stance is the boss will summon some ads. This one tethers to the boss, so I believe it heals or protects it in some way, so just take this out as quick as possible. And again a bit later on in this stance one player will be targeted by like prey and bleeding and stuff like that, and there will be an ad tethered to them and will follow them around, so whoever's targeted just has to keep running while the rest of the players take out the ad. So that's pretty much it. All the other moves is stuff that you've seen before in the damage stance, so that's the Regen AoE on the floor, the Strip Mine thing, and the 2 different types of Cure. So just keep up the process of dealing with all of these and damaging the boss, and then you'd have killed the boss. and completed the Lost City of Amdapor hard mode. Anyway guys, that is my guide over. I really hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe for more Final Fantasy XIV videos in the future.